Good morning, Denise Dryden here. I'm out on Bainbridge Island in front of my favorite old cedar. It seems to be the time, as you've seen in previous videos, this is when I like to stand in front of a tree that holds a lot of strength and a lot of wisdom. Because today we want to talk about shame as a societal norm, sort of where shame comes from and what my take is on it, so we can sort of play with it. And I collect different kinds of wisdoms. I am eclectic. I'm curious. And so today we're going to play with Nikola Tesla. We're going to play with Susie Miller, Brene Brown, astrology, and tarot. And I'm going to put them all together on the topic of shame. So let's start here. Is that Tesla, I'm sliding down the hill here. Tesla talked about energy, frequency, and vibration. That energy is pushed or pulled in motion, and it's always in motion, right? So we know that energy in Einstein's work, this is all conceptual science, that energy is in motion at all times. So the Latin derivative of emotion is emotere. I think that's how you pronounce it. E-M-O-T-E-R-E, which is energy in motion. And it's the feeling, a sensation, a physiological reaction that makes a specific emotion positive or negative in the human being, right? Or in the sentient being, right? Emotion is just the carrier waves of the entire spectrum of feelings. So emotion is just energy in motion, and how it affects us is up to us, right? So psychology is really an in-depth study of our reaction or reactions to energy waves. So when, something hits, bing, we know what that is. Something hits, bing. And we look at repetitive patterns, and we look at studies, and we try to graph it out and say, when this happens, right? So our reactions are based on our life experiences and the associations we have with cause and effect. So hang in there with me, because we're going to get to the real juicy part, but I need to build this foundation that our own life experiences build our experience of cause and effect. So if this happens, then I feel this. And our wonderful brains have this ability to scan it and go, oh, when I get that kind of a ping of an energy, I associate this, and this. Which one you want me to feel? And so there's this collaboration between the brain as the collector of data and the energy that's felt through the physiological system, and then it comes up as emotions. So think about this. We pull up our own emotions, and everyone's emotional reaction, everyone's emotions are personal. They're individual. They're customized. And there are so many emotions that after a period of time become really predictable. Whether you have a parent who yells, or a parent who does silent treatment, or a sibling that bullies, we have these repetitive patterns in our bodies. So Chiron, which is this beautiful planet, is the one that says these are the vibrations that you wanted to learn and that you're holding. These are the frequencies, the energy frequencies that you imprinted. So there we go, with a little astrology in there. So shame is a predictable, consistent reaction to energy. Shame is a predictable and consistent reaction to a certain kind of energy, especially when it's left unchecked and unexpected. Then when energy comes in and we have a reaction, we go into shame. So shame, the study of shame and vulnerability, has been something that Brene Brown's done for the last 20 plus years. And she has 2 TED Talks, one on vulnerability and one on shame. And I just posted the one on shame before this video, so you can go back and watch it. Shame is what we believe about ourselves. It's not what's real. It's not guilt. It's not what we did. It's what we believe about ourselves. That we're not good enough. That we're not attractive. That we're not worthy. It's how we interpret those pings of energy and make them personal about ourselves. So shame is a powerful energy destroyer. It can suck energy that's moving around us, and it can pick up on energy that's not ours, and it can ping us in such a way that it triggers our shame. All we have to do is have consistent pinging of energy hitting us that reminds us of the things that we used to feel, and we will stay in a constant state of shame. Does that make sense? So, shame renders us powerless. We stay small. We can't access our own power. We can't even access our own growth. So shame is the main tool of subjugation. Shame is the main tool of subjugation. And here's a tarot card that I wanted to put up here, which is the Nine of Swords, which is this really awful image of all of these 9 swords dripping with blood, right? And it's sort of governed, Nine of Swords is governed by Mars, so it's how we communicate, it's how we put our own vibration off based on the experiences we have, right? So if we want to steer or direct or control, manipulate, push another, we can do it through shame. We can build shame in them, and then we can ping it often. And I think as parents, we don't realize that we're doing this because we're passing generational stuff down. But when we go to the bigger society, all you have to do is know what the energy of shame can elicit in a human being, and you ping it often, and you make them powerless. So our culture is built on a small few who maintain or hold a tremendous amount of power and systematically build and shape shame. Whether it's our fashion industry, the role of women, what we should look like, men, what they should look like, how they should work, how they should be successful, images of success, clothes, home, family, all over media, social media. Education, religion, and politics are traditional vehicles in which shame is driven. So whenever you go into one of these environments, they are going to ping shame in you. And they're also carried in our family systems, especially in traditional patriarchal cultures, because patriarchal cultures have a specific role of women, has a specific role of men, has a specific role of sons and of daughters. So shame shows up in our culture as bullying, as pridefulness, as competition, as anger and reactivity, as domination and control. So part of my work has always been to bring this kind of information directly into our day-to-day world. So what we know is that shame shows up in our relationships, in our marriage, in our love partnerships. Shame shows up in our parenting and how we imprint, how we are imprinted and how we pass our behaviors back down. It shows up in our work relationships and how we, work alongside, how we follow directions, how we lead, how we collaborate with others. And it shows up in our community on how we build places of freedom or thriving and support, or how we build places that continue to hold us over and over again in shame. Think of homeless communities. Think of children that don't have food to eat. Since shame is a patterned reaction of energy, now is the time, November, December, January, where we have to go right after it. And we have to go after it sooner than later, is what I'm thinking, because I've been talking on the radio and I've been coaching and I've been doing these videos for a total of 25 years. Here's the bottom line. Between November, December, and January, we have all these hotbeds for energies to zing around us, energies that aren't ours, that are going to ping us and go bing, 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 and they're going to touch those pieces of shame. They're going to touch those pieces of reaction in us. And it's because we have the holidays coming, we have social gatherings, we have religious celebrations, we have a lot of expectations and pressures coming from ourselves, from our partners, from our work, about when we're going to work, when we're not, how to justify and juggle all of this. We have weather, which is, this is when it's snowy and planes are shut down and travel is dangerous. We have global and national dynamics that are ongoing, that are never going to stop. We have an election on Tuesday. We have an inundation of seasonal marketing, which is telling us if you were really good, this is what you should do. This is how you should decorate your table. This is what you should get your wife. This is what kind of role you should play in the family. Okay, so it gets really sticky. It gets so sticky and icky when we go after shame. So how are you doing to neutralize these reactions when this kind of energy comes to you? So this is sort of multifold, because it's not only just how to recognize the energy ping, like, oh shoot, I just got hit with something that I don't know is mine, is it somebody else's? And then how do I manage my reaction, which is, what do I do now? And how do I support and lead others who are watching me, like your children or your colleagues or your partner, which is, let them step in and go, wow, what just happened? Or I saw how you did that. But how we manage that, right? So it's like no pressure. And we have 3 months of absolute pressure cooker coming up. So this is the time to start talking about shame and energy in motion, right? So here are some tips that I bring forward, in each of these topics. So number 1, Brene Brown. She said that the petri dish for shame to just blossom is silence, secrecy, and judgment. That when those are present, it's a ripe environment for shame. So silence, secrecy, and judgment. So what that means is that you can't bury things. You can't pretend like they aren't there. And you can't turn around and say, I don't do that, to someone else. Okay, so when we're experiencing that energetic ping, notice it, bring it to the surface, let it inform you. So that's the first tip, is that silence, secrecy, and judgment don't work. Number 2, your reaction is your choice. It's yours to own. It doesn't belong to anybody else. You're the only one who can change this because this is your reality. So when we go to Chiron, we know that we have certain emotional reactions. The more information we have, the more we know what to do, then we know what we can do to own this choice, right? This is what are my strengths? How am I going to get through this? Okay, so own it. Breathe through it. Let it be 100% yours. Say, I am feeling, and ride through it without reaction. So this might look like, I'm not going to take the bait and go for the rebuttal, the bait like the hook. I'm not going to go for the rebuttal. I'm not going to try to get into an argument with someone that just wants to spin energy. I'm stepping away and I'm going to be calm. I'm going to speak my truth in a calm way, which is, that's not my experience, and you have been a bully to me before in the past. So I'm not really going to take the bait right now. Watch, say that at a Thanksgiving dinner and watch what happens. Use I statements about what you need and what you experience, right? So number 3, refuse to pass your reaction along to others. This is your reaction. That doesn't mean that the more people get stirred up, the more comfortable you feel, because now everybody's in a state of agitation and you don't realize that you're the one who started it, right? So you do this with children. So you resist and you refuse to control or shape or inform or push or pressure them. Don't subjugate your children with your own imprinting. The other one is to guide yourself and to model self-management without attachment and without these passive messages, which is, I'm going to sit here and be quiet, but I'm going to let you know I'm really unhappy, and I'm going to and try to control and make things happen in the room with that kind of energy. Okay, so refuse to pass it along to others. And number 4, use courage, empathy, and empowerment at all times. It takes tremendous courage to stand up and say, I'm going to break this shame cycle, and I'm going to neutralize it, and I'm going to step out of being reactive victim every time something comes and pings me and causes a reaction in me. And you show empathy to others, which is, wow, that must have really hurt. Wow, I saw that happen. And so you let them know that you saw that. And then always empower constantly with presence. Empower presence, empower observation, empower intelligence, empower wisdom in yourself and others. You know, you watch a kid calm themselves down, turn around and say, no, thank you. I told you 3 times I don't want that on my plate. You can then turn around in front of the grandparents, in front of everybody, and say, that was really awesome for you to be able to speak your truth. How'd that feel? I saw you do that. That was pretty cool. So the more we empower, the more we own, the more we hold this concept that subjugation and shame are hidden in silence and judgment and secrecy, then we can start to break this apart, because we're going to need to have less of these ping reactions all over us as we go into January in 2020, because it's going to get rough, right? So this is the kind of stuff I do. If you're interested in being coached or doing Chiron sessions or watching more videos, you can go to DeniseDrydenCoaching.com and see what you learn, see what you're interested in, and give me a call. Ping me. All right. Have a great Sunday. Have a great beginning of November, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.